Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my video for this year's Kwanzaa Reflectathon. This chair is going to be a challenge. I should probably also explain where I am because I specifically picked this room in the house. This is my childhood bedroom, which has obviously been turned into a sewing room since I left because I haven't occupied this space since 2005. So because this is a Reflectathon, I figured it would be fun to do some reflecting in a space that is from the previous decade right before we go into a brand new decade. Anyone else with existential dread? The wonderful Njeri from Onyx Pages asked me if I would be interested in participating, and I said yes, although there is one challenge that I couldn't find a book for, so I'm going to have to find a book for it in 2020. The Kwanzaa Reflectathon is taking the 7 principles of Kwanzaa and picking a book for each of them that you read throughout the year. I'll have all of the principles and the prompts down below if you would like to make your own video because there is a giveaway associated with making a video. The first prompt is Unity, a book that centered the upliftment of African-American descended folks. For this I've decided to go with The Deep by Rivers Solomon. This is a book that I read quite recently that has to do with pregnant women who were captured by slavers and being taken across to North America, being thrown off the ship because they were sickly, and their offspring making an entirely new community that is basically mermaids, although that word is never used. There is a different word that I just forget and I don't have the book with me. This book is very much about the history of this people, as the main character is their historian and has to live year-round with their pain, whereas they only come together once a year to remember their history. And although there are very hard aspects to this story, it also felt like there was some hope and some joy in knowing where you come from. The second prompt is Self-Determination, a book with an African-descended LGBTQ character who is determined AF. For this I'm using Full Disclosure, which I haven't technically finished reading. I have about 30 minutes left in the audiobook, but I'm absolutely loving. This book centers Simone, a teenager with HIV who just moved to a new school because her status was disclosed at her old school by who she thought she could trust, and now she's moved to a new school where nobody knows about her status. Simone is also bi, but her new friends sort of erase that at points until she has to call them out on that. Simone is the student director for a production of Rent that is happening at her high school, and she is very determined to get it to be as good as it can be. This book is also incredibly sex positive, and she is incredibly determined to one day have sex. The third prompt is Collective Work and Responsibility, a book in which a diverse group of characters work together towards a common goal. For this I'm going to use Six of Crows and then also the book that I just finished reading yesterday, which is Crooked Kingdom. This is a duology. I probably don't have to tell you too much about this, but it does center 6 characters that are very, very different that come together for common goals. They all have various skills, backstories, personalities, backgrounds, everything, and they come together in this delicious found family to go on a heist. The way I said that makes it sound frivolous, but really there are high stakes that happen in these books. Fourth is the prompt for which I do not currently have a book, so if you have any books in mind that fit this prompt, please let me know them down in the comments below so I can look into reading them in 2020. The fourth principle is Cooperative Economics, a book that got you thinking about shared economic resources. I could have done the thing where I went through the list of all 267 books that I've read so far this year and kind of tried to figure out a book that would fit, but it feels like cheating because it obviously didn't make me think of it at the time. And it's maybe something I just haven't been looking for in my reading because it's not something that I particularly think about in my day-to-day life, so I'd like to read at least one book that fits this category next year. Next we have Purpose, a book in which an African-descended person found or developed their purpose. For this I want to use With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book was beautifully written. I also listened to the audiobook, which is obviously a great way to go if it's accessible to you. Because Elizabeth Acevedo reads her own audiobook, she's a slam poet, she's got a great voice. This book is about Imani, who is a single teenage mother. She absolutely loves cooking. There's something magical about her cooking. Everyone has always said so, and she has this chance to do this class at her school that has to do with a specific type of cuisine, and then the class is meant to go off to Spain to learn more about the cuisine there. And this is all about her figuring out whether or not she can take time for herself because she has the responsibility of being a single parent. Next we have Creativity, a book in which an African-descended character demonstrated powers through creativity. For this one I want everyone, if you haven't read it already, to read Slay. By day our main character is a straight A student at a prestigious high school. By night she created a Black-only online video game that sounds amazing, actually. I don't play a lot of video games, but this one sounds fantastic. It's the type of game where you have to use certain cards that are dealt to you at random, and each of these cards has different references to what it's like to be black or some black experiences, because obviously they're not all the same. And this is a type of game that you play in VR, so you're using these abilities, but you're using it with your own body, and it was just a very cool concept. I was worried that I wasn't going to understand all the gaming mechanics, but I totally did. It was fantastic. The seventh and final principle is faith, a book that strengthened your faith. I'm not a person of faith, but something that brought me more faith in humanity and people doing what's for the greater good was Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. I just finished reading this not too long ago. This, again, was a great audiobook. It's narrative nonfiction, so it's talking about his time as a lawyer trying to get people off death row and trying to get people who are wrongly convicted out of prison. The way he impacted countless lives, both of convicts and their families and their friends and their communities, just really stuck with me after I finished the book. And there you have it. Those are the 6 books and the plea for recommendations for a 7th book for next year for the Kwanzaa Reflectathon. If you'd like to participate, please do. All the information will be down below. Also, I'll link in Njeri's video down below, because if you do participate, please use the hashtag and also let her know that you've done the video in the comment section of her video, because there is a giveaway. She's giving away 4 books by 2 different black authors, none of which I've currently read, so I'm looking forward to potentially winning that prize. Have you read any of these books? Let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!